2, check 1, 2. Welcome to Innovation Somalia. I am your host, Abdullahi. I'm coming to you from Columbus, Ohio. Today's guest is Abdullahi Hassan. Abdullahi is one of the co-founders in Hoyo's Kitchen here in Columbus, Ohio. They have multiple locations. Thank you so much.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you, Abdul.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I know you're a busy man. Let's get to it. Hoyo's Kitchen. Now you guys have a second location open in Columbus downtown.
Yes.
How's that going?
It's doing great.
Okay.
Currently.
Okay.
Considering the circumstances.
Uh-huh.
The restaurant business definitely took a hit during the pandemic, but alhamdulillah, we're going strong. We're very happy about our position and our longevity now, because we've survived the biggest part of the storm. So
I hope so, man.
Inshallah.
So.
So we're doing good.
More locations on the pipeline?
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Definitely.
Inshallah.
We got a third
nice.
concept coming out in a month or so.
Nice.
That will be at Bridge Park North Market.
Okay.
So if you're familiar, if you're
In
from
Dublin?
the Columbus area in Dublin.
Nice.
And it won't be a Hoyo's Kitchen. It'll be a new concept, focusing mainly on sambus.
Nice.
Sambusas and juices.
Finger foods.
Finger foods. I think that definitely has a place in American palate.
Uh-huh.
When you think about American foods that have blown up and have joined the American fabric, so to speak. We're talking about burritos. We're talking about pizzas. We're talking about these small handheld foods that you can eat mobile. You can it's flexible. It's something you could.
Quick,
delicious, cheap, relatively speaking.
Right.
And I think sambusa has that same appeal.
Uh-huh.
And, it's something I've always wanted to do. It's something that I've wanted to do before even considering a restaurant. It was something small, sambus. And just revolutionizing the concept, because Somalis, we think about, we're very traditional. Whatever we do it
right
forever and ever and ever. There's no, there's no room for improvement sometimes with us. But the sambus is like literally a blank canvas. You can do so much with it, and I think bringing that to the American mainstream or main street, I think will be revolutionary.
The best product is the product that stays on the pipeline for quite a bit some time, because it's really baked and really thought about it.
Yes.
And looked in different angles. By the time it's out, and it definitely is not a perfection, but it's close to somewhat perfection. That
someone told me
as far as
years ago.
I
don't remember exactly who it was. It could have been my sister, in fact, my younger one, who said, if you have an idea and it does not leave you for years and years, and just you dream about it and you leave it and you come back to it, that's the idea that you need to run with. That's the one, because everyone has business ideas, everyone has ideas, but
absolutely.
they sleep on it and it's gone. They don't think about it again, maybe. But the ones that usually work are the ones that can't escape your mind, and that's what the sambusas and juices comes, because it's something that I thought about from freshman year in college.
Wow, that
2006. 2006 when I started, when I entered my first year of university, college, I should say. I was going to school and I was eating around, but there was nothing of the sort. There was nothing traditional, nothing Somali, nothing, it was just McDonald's and, all that junk food. And I thought to myself, wow, I had that idea then. I'm sure people, these things existed before. Right. I didn't come up with the idea, but I wanted to bring it to the mainstream. And You know, I was still young. I was still broke, and no one believed in my ideas. You know, no one would lend me $1 back then, which I appreciate, because it took me years and years to hone my craft and just get my experience up for people to trust me.
That's the power of broke thinking.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
when you don't have the funds, but you have the idea,
yes,
you think about it, you let it marinate.
Yes.
It gets, like I said, it gets baked from every angle. By the time it comes to the market, it's been well thought of.
Thoroughly, yeah.
You see what I mean?
Absolutely.
Was the food always in the card?
I've always, food, yes, I love food. I've
Okay.
always loved my mother's cooking, and we would always say, look, we have to open your restaurant.
Right.
We have to open your restaurant. I mean, this is
When
unfair.
did that concept came on to you? Like, I know you did mention it was early on thinking about the Sambusa part, like the concept of let me get out, let me do,
Hoyo's Kitchen?
Yeah, Hoyo's Kitchen. How did that concept came about?
So the idea was always in the back of my head. Always. Not knowing exactly when I would, necessarily jump on it. I always thought I would open a restaurant, but at what point of my career would I open it? Was my thing. But then, opportunities come, and you have to jump on them.
Right.
And when a door opens, you just have to walk through it. And ultimately, what happened was a business was going out of business, in which I heard through the grapevine. I heard the restaurant that we ended up buying out. They were looking for buyers, and 3 months. Well, I should say less than even. I'd say, because when I graduated, I went to Somalia.
Okay. So that's from high school or from college?
College.
Okay.
So,
where are you graduating from?
Ohio State University.
The
Ohio State University. I mean, where do we start? Because
Right.
the whole story, I would say, started.
Now you finished college. Now you went back home.
So this is why I have to go back a little bit, just a little bit, because I started college 2006. This is when I graduated high school, and went to school for 2 years and just wasn't motivated, because I wanted to be a business person.
Okay.
I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was around people who were business people and who didn't necessarily go to school, and I was into Forbes and Fortune and all these magazines and this I'd read all this literature about all the billionaires and all these successful business people who didn't go to school. Not really understanding the nuance that these people were already smart. They didn't need school. I wasn't there, but I just took that part and ran with it. I was like, I don't need school. I could be rich without school, because I had a business mind. I feel I would sit around with kids my age and talk about business ideas, and to the point where these guys would just be sick of me. Like, get out of here, man. We're not trying to hear that, man. And I just look at them like, you guys have no idea, man. So
see, that's the power of vision. Like, if you have a vision, and like your sister says, so the idea was marinated into your mind, it doesn't leave you. There's always this small voice in the back of your head whispering, that's your passion. That's something that you can see doing for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
So now,
so yeah, to fast forward, I went to school 2 years. I was doing good. I wasn't, but I wasn't motivated. I wasn't motivated, and when I lose motivation, I kind of just stray away and just, get lethargic and lazy, and so ultimately, dropped out or took time off. Initially, I mean, I thought I was just taking a quarter off, and then a quarter turned into this, and then next thing you know, I'm out of school for nearly 4 years, almost 3 years, I'd say, 3 and some change. And I moved to D.C. area, and you know, I was working odd job at the airport, just working for United Airlines, and you know, did that for a couple of years, thinking that my goal was to transfer and go to school at George Mason, and the plan was never to not go to school. You see, it's just what happened.
It's just what happened.
And that's why I always advise kids: do not take time off, or maybe take time off. Who knows? I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. But that's if you have.
If your passion is calling,
if
your passion is calling, and you truly have a vision, and you think that you might succeed this, I mean, why not wait?
So,
I mean, why wait?
Let me. I didn't have a passion at the time. You see, I didn't have an idea of what. The biggest fear for me was not having an idea. You see, I mentor my younger cousins and you know, family members and friends of mine who are much younger than me, and I tell them, look. Think about what you want to do before you start college. You know, and that's very hard to do. It's a scary idea to want to plan out your life before you even know what you want to do. It's a very scary and intimidating concept.
You can't.
You can't. You really cannot. And for someone like me who was as ambitious as I was, deciding what I wanted to do freshman year in college was a daunting task because it was.
What was it? What were you trying to do?
I mean, what career do you want to do as a 17, 18-year-old? I had no idea. I knew I wanted to. Honestly, my idea was to study something that I could use back home.
Okay.
At even a young age like that, for whatever reason, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in my head, like you have to give back to someone. I mean, that was just ingrained in my head. Study something that you can use, that you can transfer over there to improve the situation over there. That was always my passion. My initial passion.
Did you go back to Somalia? I mean,
so
it's not like
I'm gonna tie it in.
Let me rephrase it. The reason I'm asking, I'll tell you now. Did you ever went back? Did you ever visit in Somalia? Let me say this. Did you ever visit? Let me finish. Did you ever visit Somalia before finishing high school?
No.
Okay.
Never stepped foot. Never.
The reason I'm asking is because at what point did you thought of the idea helping or giving it back to the Somali country?
I feel like that was just how I was raised.
Okay. Parents and people, relatives,
just
kind of sort of discussion that happens.
Yeah, you yearn for that homeland that's in you, and if you, especially for the people who were born and raised in America, North America, diaspora, they don't have a concept of what the Somalia is. They only hear what they see on the news or what they tell. So I didn't subscribe to that ideology at all. I was very much, optimistic that it'll change. So
me too.
Yeah. So so I'll tie that in because it wasn't until I moved out of Columbus and moved to the D.C. area. I was working at Dulles Airport in Virginia, that services the D.C. metro area. So I was working there for 3 years, and I came across a lot of young Somali brothers who just recently moved there from Somalia, right?
Came to
that lived there and worked at that airport that I was working at. And then when we had a bunch of those guys, and their life and my life were both from the same place, but our lives are very different.
Grew up different.
And you see the hunger in their eyes, and you see the ambition, but their ceiling is set here,
right?
Due to the language barrier and just so many different restrictions on which I don't subscribe to. I mean, you could do whatever you want if you're here, but reality is, the language barrier. They had those issues, so they were working there, and here comes me, someone who was born and raised in the States, and we're in the same place, and I never at that point. I'm humble by nature, and I don't see myself as bigger than what it is, But they saw me as, what's wrong with you? You were born here, and you're working at the same place we're working. What happened to you? Literally, I will shout out one guy, and we layered off 𝐸𝐶𝐒 Mohammed. Did you ever hear that name before? I've never heard that name before.
No, the way you pronounce might be a little bit different.
𝐸𝐶𝐒.
Yeah, it could be.
So 𝐸𝐶𝐒 and 𝐸𝐶𝐒. That's how he said his name. So I never heard that name before, but لا يعلم 𝐸𝐶𝐒.
Do you know the meaning of 𝐸𝐶𝐒?
No. Do you?
Say, like say it to me, like.
I have no idea.
𝐸𝐶𝐒.
ما 𝐸𝐶𝐒 معها 𝐸𝐶𝐒. What am I gonna yo? 𝐸𝐶𝐒. Yeah.
Okay. So what did he say?
So he said literally verbatim. He said,
Dude,
you're working here and you're born here, and to that extent, and I said, so the crazy part is this is a culmination of things that came together on the same span. I had that event with my good friend, who I haven't seen since I left the area, the DC area. And I had an uncle of mine who was very successful in business in Africa, and he was in real estate, and he was in telecommunications, right? So he's an uncle of mine, and he. Also close with my mother because they grew up together in Hamar. And so he had roots in the DC area. So when he comes back from business, he visited us who were new to the city at that point, because we just moved to the area, right? And here I am coming off of work, just coming straight to him with my business ideas, And he just looked at me like, what have you done in your life for me to invest in you? You haven't even graduated university. Yeah. You're a dropout. And that left a bad taste in my mouth, because here this man is with no college experience, who's made it business wise, and I was like, wow, he's absolutely right, because his circumstance was different than mine. You see, he came because he made it without formal education, because he had no choice. I'm sure if the roles were reversed, he would invest in that time in school, but he had families to feed and people to help out, so he got into the real estate business, and from there he became very successful. And I and many of the people in my generation have a different situation, and that put it into perspective, you see. And I said, look, we're different. We can't, everything before that point, right? I was not necessarily against school. I understood the value of school, and, if anything, do it for your family, do it for your parents who've sacrificed their whole, who sacrificed a lot for you to go to school.
Absolutely.
If you can't do it for yourself, at least do it for them, And so my thinking changed. My thinking changed because, look, it boils down to what legitimacy do you have? Have you done anything tangible? At the very base level, we're immigrants. We're the first generation of immigrant parents who, or we ourselves are immigrants. And the very basic level, school, your college degree should be a basic level of what's it called? of something you can accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because there's kids back home who don't have that opportunity. It's not about, money. There's so many. There are obstacles to get a degree. We understand these things,
Absolutely.
but it's attainable. It's attainable, and the market is becoming very competitive. And a bachelor's degree now is like a high school degree.
Absolutely.
So if you look at it that way, it's very easy and very attainable for you to accomplish.
So he pushed you to think different.
So think different. My friend Ekit from the airport.
How long you worked in United?
3 years.
Okay.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Forget about it. I don't want to think about that part.
I worked at Boston Market.
Okay.
That was my first job.
Wow.
Yeah, my first job was Wendy's in combination of within 2 weeks or 3 weeks getting Boston Market.
Wow.
Dude.
Wow.
I didn't eat chicken for a good 6 months. You know what my job was? Carver.
Ooh.
So the rotisserie chicken will come out off from the oven. We'll chop it. But the real work kick in after we close 10 p.m. What we used to do is that we used to dismantle all the leftover chickens, take all the bones out, take all the skins out, all that stuff, and mush them on all of it, and we'll make it chicken salad. Chicken salad,
yeah.
Yeah. So the next morning you'll serve that as a chicken salad. It was called chicken salad sandwich.
Yeah.
A couple of days. It was good. I ate it, but it just I don't like it. But I never had to do that kind of work.
Yeah.
So my first work, I didn't eat chicken for a long time.
After that.
That's
funny.
Yeah, but I liked it so much. The environment, the people that I was working on, I tolerated, and that kind of sort of gives you, if you enjoy what you do, it's a difference. So now.
Where was this in Columbus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Columbus, yeah. Actually, it was an Upper Arlington, Kingsdale. So now it's obviously that whole area get expanded, and there's a retail stores all that area. But when we first came to Columbus, there weren't that many families. Somali's family that is. So like 6, 7.
Wow.
People kind of knew each other.
The originals.
Yeah, the originals. Wow. But I'm glad it turned out to Columbus where it is now. It's the second largest city in the States when it comes to Somali population. First Minneapolis.
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minneapolis, the state. Minnesota, the city. Yeah. Second to Minnesota. It's unbelievable how it turned out.
Yeah.
I really like living in Columbus. I really do.
Columbus. There was a lot of bumps and bruises initially. Culture difference and but it's we're taking it to another level now. I feel like we're very much setting our roots in Columbus, and alhamdulillah, we're going in the right direction as a community in Columbus.
The restaurant business, just a little bit. So now, where the inspiration of name came about?
The inspiration came from the love you have for your mother and your mother's cooking. Okay. And
universal.
It's universal. It's inclusive, and it's something that everyone can. It applies to all demographics.
I think Hoyo's Kitchen reached the level it is now.